So we just installed a Frog Fab np231 231 doubler in this Jeep Cherokee. And this video is going to cover the installation. Then we're going to have a review where Taren's going to talk about his rig and talk about his thoughts on the doubler after the install. And then we're going to show some wheeling footage at the end of him wheeling his XJ on 35s and lockers with the doubler at Prison Hill and Moonrocks, which are both really badass rock crawling areas in northern Nevada. Frog Fab actually saw the 231-300 video that I did on another buddy's rig and reached out and said, hey, we'll send you a free 231 kit if you make a video. And I was like, of course, I want to do one anyways because I might put one in another rig. So let's do this thing. Check it out. Let's get started. Hey, it's John, and today we're putting these two 231s together to make a dual transfer case setup using the Frog Fab block off kit. And you can see right here that we cut the case in half, welded up the block off plate. We got our spud shaft right there. And these two cases are gonna go together to give us a 272 low range, another 272 low range, and I think a 7.2 double low. Stay tuned and go wheel.
Yeah!
So to run this Frog Fab kit or any 231 doubler kit, you're gonna end up cutting off the front output part of the front half of the case. And then you're gonna weld up this block off plate. And then it comes with a clocking ring and a big old block off plate with multiple clocking positions for the back case, which is in this case our old transfer case. We had to remove the studs on this so we can get the bolts into the clocking ring. And if I remember correctly from the last one we did, we're gonna wanna put this on first. This guy goes on second, and then we bolt the case to that. And that's gonna give us our dual transfer case setup. We'll check the shift patterns on the bench and make sure that everything shifts okay. And then we're probably gonna try to do some measurements and try to figure out our initial clocking. The setup is pretty heavy, so you probably only want to put it up on the rig as few times as possible, the least amount possible. So I'm going to try to get it right within like 1 or 2 attempts. But yeah, all right, we're going to get right into it. Before we get started, I want to go over the list of parts we used. We used the Frog Fab doubler kit. Thanks to Frog Fab for sending that over. We used 2 sets of aftermarket XJ linkage. We used some 3/8 rod to weld and lengthen the second linkage from the back case. We lengthened the front and rear drive shafts. Lengthened the front, shortened the rear. Miscellaneous steel for floor modifications, RTV for the case halves, and you need someone to weld aluminum. Right, here we are assembling the cases. We ended up having to drill out the mounting holes. We tried for an extremely long time to not do that. We opened them up very little though. I think it was either 1/64 or 1/32. Nothing we could do could possibly get them on there. The 231-300 I did in my other video, we were able to get it on there with only drilling out 1 hole, which is interesting. And once we got that, RTV it and stick it on there on that front case, and then get ready to bolt on the adapter plate. Well, Taren, what's going on right now? Because we just ran into kind of some issues.
Yeah.
Just put it lightly.
The bolt pattern on this is ever so slightly bigger than the bolt pattern on the clocking ring. So you can only get
We can get like 1 or 2 bolts.
there's maybe 3 possible.
Yeah. And that's
then
really
the rest of them are off. So what's happening is because it's a bigger bolt pattern, it's actually shifting this plate this way. And I'm worried about the little stub shaft not being perfectly straight.
I do agree with that.
And it's going to hurt the bearing that's in the planetary and everything. So if we drill all the ones that I marked, we should be able to get it closer to center in theory. So we are going a 64th bigger with the 21/64 drill bit. I'm going to drill all the marked holes, and then we'll see if we can get the bolts in.
And we'll go from there. Yeah.
And the shaft straight.
Yeah. Well, we won't know if the shaft is straight when it's in there because you can't really see it.
So measure that one on holes you did not drill. I just want to have a rough idea, like
6.04.
Okay, then measure that one again. That's 5.95. You said. Oh, yeah. Because we had to drill those out too.
5.9575.
Get that on here too.
It dropped, but
so still, so 5.96, 6.04. That's too small.
if that was,
We thought that was too big.
but
This is actually too small.
the center part centers it on the transfer case.
Well, that's its fucking plasma, and I filed it and cleaned it up.
okay.
Did you?
That. Yeah, the plasma's not even straight. It's got like a chamfer in it.
We're drilling this out again.
Another 64th.
Another 64th.
So it'll be a 30-second bigger.
Yeah, we're going a 30-second bigger.
Oh, it's really not that much.
It's just annoying that we've identified that, you know, once again, we measured center bore on these is 5.95 inches roughly, and that the plate is 6.04. So we're opening these up by,
We determined this
it's too small.
is too small.
Yep.
It was scaled down, so we had to drill these out.
We're taking it back off real quick. You got no space right here. You got to put that bolt through first. Put it upside down, you got full access to it. It's definitely when you're clocking it.
I feel like getting that nut out would suck.
I recommend test fitting everything a week beforehand. So if you do have any fitment issues or some of the bolts aren't the right size, you have time to resolve that, or possibly order parts or buy bolts or whatever you need to do. That way too, you're not on the day of the install finding out that it won't work. It's backed up against the case right here. Good luck. They give you a Allen key, but I would love this Allen bolt, but good luck getting the Allen key in there. A stock 231 weighs about 74 pounds, cutting one in half. I'm guessing the whole setup weighs over 100 pounds. Have a friend to help you load this thing up. And bonus if you got a vehicle lift, but you can do this on the ground with a couple Harbor Freight tranny jacks and a couple friends, but be safe out there. Like, we used 2 cheap shit Harbor Freight jacks and then 3 guys. With
I lifted a Sprinter transfer case out by myself the other day.
How much does that weigh? Are those huge?
It's not huge, but it's not light. I don't know.
100 pounds probably.
Yeah.
Those are gear driven, right?
Huh?
Those are gear
Yeah,
driven?
those are.
The Sprinters are?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Sprinters are pretty badass, not gonna lie.
God, it's so close too. It's like close but not.
It's like we're just gonna cut. No fucking pleated in.
We ended up dropping the tranny down more. We were able to get the input onto the transmission, but from there we had to cut the floor and do some modifications, and we cut from the inside from the top and dropped it down even more. You could also mark it, remove it, and reinstall it if you want to as well. Sorry, I know it's awkward.
Oh, you're good. That's fucking stock, actually, because these bolts for preload for the shifters are flat.
So it's basically stock clocking.
Yeah. Alright, well. How much of this am I gonna hack?
A bit. It's just the corner. It's not even like, really not that much.
Cool, that's what we cut out of the floor right there.
Yep.
So not a whole lot so far. You got easy access to the linkage right there too. It looks like that you're about to hit right. You're hitting right there.
Right there.
Speedo is right next to the floor. You got 1/2 inch. So I think that's you gotta cut it, or on the front, you've got all this space, all this room for activities to like have the linkage go forward. On this rear, you just hit the front of the front case. So we're gonna have to get creative with the rear linkage. We haven't figured out what the plan is yet, but we have some ideas. So we got this thing that's like Speedway Motors $20 double shifter that I took one of the shifters off years ago. We're gonna try to see if we can make a dual shift kit. We've got, why did that not follow? We got this bar right here. We got this right here. This fits in here. Try to make another arm to go into here, possibly bend this over out of the way to fit linkage, and we'll have twin sticks in the front in the same spot. Is that the idea?
Yeah, we're gonna try and put twin sticks in the same location as stock, so, because everything clears linkage-wise, it's just trying to get the shifter situated, so.
See if that works. I like it. So what we were just saying is we're gonna cut this guy an inch or so longer than that guy, and we think we could mount both linkages. All right, what do we got going on here? So we had this. That was like leftover from a random T-case setup I did on a Wagoneer where I only used one of these and made a new one of these. And then you fabricated this earlier, right?
Yeah.
And that fits in there. And that,
what we had.
And then tell us about it a little bit, because I think we made that one longer to clear, right? Is that kind of the deal?
Yeah, so.
That shifter too, if anyone's interested, it's like Google dual shifter aluminum. Speedway Motor sells them for around $20 plus shipping. We made that one longer. You know what it's going to help with too? They're not going to be so side by side all the time, because that one's going to have a longer throw, so you're going to have a little bit of split.
It's going to be like that.
Which will help, because if they're right next to each other and this one's a little taller, it'll be a little easier to grab that one.
I mean, you can still get in there.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
just a little bit of it.
And there you go. Cool. Awesome. Let's go put it in. Self-tappers for the win.
Yeah.
I fucking love self-tappers.
This one's getting self-tappers.
Basically making a little cover. Ripped out the factory linkage. There you go. That thing right there, that's out. Right where the factory hole is right there is where we're gonna put the little double linkage chinga there. There you go.
Had a sheet metal brake. There we go.
There you go. So far, the 231 is much faster and easier to set up than the 231-300. We did not have to flip the 231 crawl box upside down. We did not have to flip the 300 upside down because we're running the 231s together. The 231 front output shaft is an inch further out from the center line of the T-case than the 300. So it's making the floor modification part a lot easier. We did have to cut the floors, but not as much as we did with like a 300, everything flipped upside down. And so right now it's really just shift linkage. And I think we're gonna be able to, it looks like we're right in the middle of working on making like a twin stick shift setup using the two 231 linkages, and it looks like it's all gonna clear, and we'll show you in a second what we're talking about. A little bracket he made, welded on, there you go, goes in like that. Cool, twin sticks. I thought it would have been cool to use like two stock linkages, but I don't see that happening. So we're hitting right there. So we've come up with a game plan. We're gonna add 7 3/4 inches, which is the length of the front case, basically, to a cheap linkage that we already had. This is just one of those like aftermarket XJ replacement linkages. Add 7 inches. We're thinking it's gonna work. Do it for the camera real fast. Yeah, you're in low right now. Shift that outer one real quick so we know. Or whatever the other one, I don't know.
Yeah, so all the way forward on both should be too high.
Okay, do the one we just got done doing again. I want to get that on camera just so I can see, have it. Kind of move the other one. There you go. I mean, works. It's not hitting anything. That doesn't seem like it's full. Okay, is that it? Is that like 4 high right there? What's that at? Yeah, that's hitting the gate or whatever when you go right there. So is that the 2 high?
Yeah, I think that's
So go. So is that neutral? Is that neutral? Let me check. So it clears.
4 high is a little weird.
Yeah.
Find, and then it wants to move this one.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Neutral, low.
I'm gonna move that one.
Oh, because that one keeps trying to get into the 2-wheel drive high.
Oh, that's why. It works. We haven't put the cross member on. We're hoping that with the cross member on, it actually clears better. So we're getting ready to do that right now. But so far, so good. So it's like 10:20. We started at, I don't know, 1:30. So 9 hours to pretty much have it mostly buttoned up or have the cross member on in like 10 minutes. And then from there, it's just drive shafts. So you figured it takes 15 minutes to put on 2 drive shafts, maybe 10, 20 minutes to put on 2 drive shafts. So yeah, compared to the other one, the 231-300 doubler that we did, that was like 3 to 4 12-hour days. There was a lot more going on with that. We had triple sticks. We cut up the floor a lot more. We weren't able to use factory shifters. That added a ton of time. We removed both of his front seats, cut up the passenger side floor a lot. So if you're, if you really want a 300 or a 205, it's going to be more fab work and a lot more time. If you want like the quick and dirty doubler, I think the 231 is like the quick and dirty version. We're going to finish this off. He's putting the cross member in right now.
And I have to strap this thing because it's bent.
Yeah, they always do that. They all bend and they all suck to get on after a while.
Except we cut my strap that I used last time, David.
Was that the last one?
I don't think so.
I might. I just wanted to say thanks to Frog Fab for sending us this kit for free and sponsoring this video with the free kit. I do appreciate that. Check the description. I think we're going to have a discount code in there. So check it out. There might be a 5 or 10% off code. I'm trying to work with Frog Fab on that.
We're back from Moonrocks. We've had 2 days of testing on the doubler kit. Prison Hill, just bebopping around. First time actually ever going there. Moonrocks, been there a lot. Grew up there, everything like that. I will say this doubler kit probably gives you too much confidence. Had absolutely no issues. If you know the northern Nevada area, I drove it from Carson City all the way to Moonrocks and drove it back down the highway, everything like that. Didn't have any issues. Doesn't make any bad noises going on the highway, nothing like that. But back on too much confidence side of things, probably trying stuff that XJ on 35s and Dana 30 and all that shouldn't, and it handled it pretty well. But as you can see, we got some fun stuff that happened on the doubler side of things. Never had any issues with the twin sticks popping out or anything like that. Shifts perfectly fine every time. You're not sitting there trying to either rock it back and forth or anything like that. It just goes right in. Didn't have any issues with the shift linkage or anything like that. If we get down here with the doubler, if you had a stock cross member, you're still gonna have to notch it out if your car has a decent amount of droop for the drive shaft. I got tired of bending cross members, so I actually designed these mounts. So there's 4 1/2-inch bolts that go in, and then this is 2x4 quarter wall, and redesigned the transmission mount so it doesn't move around a whole lot either. But I also have aftermarket motor mounts in this. It does have a full brand new skid. Used it pretty good. Didn't have any issues. It does have a little bit of a leak, but that's just out of the shift shaft. That's not out of where it got blocked off or anything like that. The shift linkage works pretty good. Didn't have any issues with it. The drive shafts, I believe, I will double check what my measurements were, but I believe it was 7 1/4 or 7 1/2 inches longer in the front and then just shortened in the rear. Even with that, like, the rear drive shaft's still pretty
has a decent length to it. I could still get full travel and everything like that. No issues with binding. Same with the front. Like I said, you just have to, if you had the stock cross member, you would have to notch it out as well. So far, I'm loving the doubler kit. It makes this thing so much more controlled and easier to wheel. Second gear in double low, bumping it, never had any issues with it popping out. It's just got a little whine when you have just the back case in low and you're kind of going at a little bit of speed. There is a little bit of whine to it, but other than that, I have absolutely no issues with it. You'll see in some of the wheeling videos that, unfortunately, this one didn't get caught on video, but yeah, you'll see in some of the videos I was putting this thing through. Its pace is pretty good for what it is. It's XJ chromoly shafts front and rear on 35s, front axles trussed with inner C gussets and fully frame stiffened, and it's a 3.5 inch or 3 inch rough country lift in the rear because that's what it had when I got it. And then the front's kind of a hodgepodge of that kit that used to be on it, and then it's got metal cloak, 3.5 springs with a spacer and some Fox shocks. Rough country steering kit that I had to rebend because this thing had enough droop that it blew out one of the tie rods. And so I bent the drag link and everything like that to get a little bit more travel out of it. 488 gears, it's welded in the rear, air locker in the front. So 488s with the doubler, it's insane. I don't see a reason to go any taller than 488s, like to a 513 or whatever, because the pinion in the Dana 30 is already tiny on a 488, and to go to a 513, I think you're just gonna start having issues with blowing the pinion up. 8.25 in the rear, chromo shafts front and rear. It did pretty good. I'm sure it would blow some stuff up if you got it like wedged pretty good and you forced it, but I mean that's kind of the name of the game with anything. So, but yeah, did good. Second gear. Stay straight. Okay. I would have stayed straight a little bit longer. Okay, you're slipping in. Stay right there and go forward. And go driver, if anything, to get up that. Front locker. Go driver. You got to get off your fender. Straighten it out. Straighten it out if you can. Now cut it.
Yeah! That's it! Pushing the limits of the XJ. Straighten it out. Yep, you're good. You got it. Made it. Yeah, buddy. This thing walks up anything.
So this is the twin stick setup that we made. This is the back case, so it's in two-wheel drive high right now. And then you have 4 high, neutral, 4 low, and then you have neutral again. This is the front case, and then that would be double low all the way back. And I haven't had any issues with it popping out of gear or anything like that. So double low first gear.
Yep. You're essentially idling up this line. You know, and this line is no joke. It's close to 45 degrees. And you know, XJ dual cases 35s. I mean, this thing, for what it is, it'll go up at just about anything. Yep. There he goes. Here goes the XJ up a, essentially, this is a buggy line. I mean, you don't see, it's close.
Thanks for following along this week. If you can, leave a comment below on what you think about a 231 doubler. Big thanks to Frog Fab for sending us the doubler kit for free. That was totally awesome. Go ahead and check them out. I put some of their info here, so it's easy for you to find them. I'll also put some links in the description as well. Big thanks to Taren and Dalton over at DT Designs over in Carson City. If you live in Carson or the general area and you want a doubler installed, they could do the install for you. If you don't want to do it yourself, you'd probably have to call them to get a price figured out. Thanks, guys. They also do a lot of general fabrication, re-gearing, axles, and all sorts of other stuff. So yeah, check them out. Hey, it's John, and today we're gonna put this 231 that we cut in half and welded a block off plate on and made it to this 231 to make dual transfer cases using the Frog. All right, I'll do it again. I know this is the part that sucks, is having to actually pretend like I know what I'm talking about.
Understand that one, yeah.
Just fake it. I've been wrenching on Cherokees for 25 years. I still make it up as I go.